there's a trauma bond that gets created where you stay with people who are not good for you because you've just been there for so long. There's got to come a point in time where you're looking at this relationship and you're assessing, is it taking up too much of your energy? Is it really giving you the benefit that you want? You get to be supported. You get to receive. You don't have to be everyone's rock. You don't always have to be the person that's giving and giving and giving to everyone else when they're taking and taking and taking. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Quantum Woman. My name is Shamina Taylor and I'll be your host. In today's episode, we're going to talk about staying in relationships that do not serve us, that literally no longer serve us. Why do we stay in relationships that do not serve us anymore? And I'll tell you, one of the things, the number one thing that I hear from people is that, but it's been so long. I've known them for so long. We've been together for so long. They've just been around for so long. So much time has passed. They know so much about me. And, the problem with that is that it's coming from a limited scarcity mindset. And I'll tell you why. And I'll tell you why that's actually affecting your money and your wealth too, with this mindset. Now, many of the times we feel like the efforting, the time that's passed equates to quality, right? Quantity is quality. But at the end of the day, it really isn't. So all the effort that's been there to get to know a person, to be around them, all the years that have been there is like, well, we shouldn't just throw that away because we've made such a big investment into this person. Look how much time has passed. But at the end of the day, when you look at that relationship, are they still giving you what you needed 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, a year ago? Are they still bringing value into your life? Or are they taking things from you? Are you there always being the one that picks up the pieces for them? Are they constantly, being an energy drain to you? Are they providing value? Are they growing with you? Are they on, someone that celebrates you? Are you constantly looking at their name when they, call or text, like, oh, that person again, right? It could be your significant other. It could be your mother. It could be a sister or brother. And I want you to ask yourself, when you're in these relationships that no longer really serving you, are you really fully authentically yourself? And I know this sounds like, well, what do you mean? Well, can you be your entire self when you're in this relationship? Or are you how you behave? Are you altering what you say? Are you truthful in who you are? Are you mask free when you are with this person? Because that's first of all the thing, because if you can be fully who you are in that relationship, that's great. But many times when you're in a relationship that is draining from you, you're really not fully yourself because it's almost like a Band-Aid. And many times people are using the length of time for a relationship to keep it going, when in fact, it's not giving you any more results because you've invested so much time. You're looking for that long-term payoff instead of cutting your losses and moving on. Now, I'm not saying you should cut everybody out of your life that doesn't serve you, but sometimes people are meant to be at arm's length and not in your circle. They're not allowed to know things about you. And here are some things that I want you to look at when you're in a relationship that you also know that needs to end and why. I'll explain. Now, I'm a true believer that things occupy space in our energy. People, thoughts, beliefs will take up space. And if we think about our grid of energetic space in our life, and we think about the people that are taking up space, is that person providing value in your life, or are they just taking up energetic space? Now, stay with me. If they're taking up energetic space, imagine how much effort you have to keep putting into that relationship or into that person that could be put or spent somewhere else. But in order to keep that relationship going, you're probably doing double time, double effort, because it's not easy. It's not a flow. It's not as much fun. It's not something that's giving you back something in return. It's become a chore, or it's become a behavior. It's become I have to do thing as opposed to I desire to do things. And it's not giving you any return on your investment in your time. But you're still doing it because you're hoping one day there'll be this payoff, or one day you'll look back and say, well, I had this friend for X number of years, or I didn't leave the relationship even when it was XYZ. There's got to come a point in time where you're looking at this relationship and you're assessing, is it taking up too much of your energy? Is it really giving you the benefit that you want? Now, next, I want you to ask yourself, is there room for something new to come in, depending on what that relationship looks like, to still be in your integrity and how you're living your life? Is there room for another friend? Is there room for another client? And I say this because a lot of the times the way we run our lives is how we run our businesses, right? Are you at a job or a position right now that's not giving you that feedback, that give and take, or that payoff, or the investment? Sometimes we stay in positions and jobs for so long because you're worried about getting that severance package, or you're worried about, where am I going to go to next? Where am I going to get all these easy things that are happening? You're really probably sitting in a level of comfortability, staying in a position, or staying somewhere that's just kind of giving you that, a little bit of a payoff because you're there, because you've spent time there, but really it's not fulfilling you or satisfying you on any level. So it's taking up space that a new position could come in, right? Now, think about the type of clients that you're serving. Maybe you're serving clients that just happen to be the ones that you've always served, but there's this new level of clients that you want to serve. This is going from low ticket to high ticket. Low ticket clients are a very different type of clientele than a high ticket for every single business. They're different mindset, the way they purchase, how they show up in their power, how they execute their end result, completely different than people who need, the low ticket need coaching, the high ticket are mentoring, right? So the time spent between the two is different. You have to spend more time with the coaching client because they are not able to be in their personal power and take things to the next level. The high ticket client, less time, they get faster results, right? But you sometimes will sell to the low ticket because you think that's where you are and what you're purchasing. And you're just comfortable doing that because that's what you've always done, because that's how it's always been, right? And when people want to step into like a high ticket, they're afraid to, because they're afraid, will they find the client? They don't know how to serve them on that level because they're used to serving people in the coaching level as opposed to the mentoring. Now I'm going back to your life right now. Where is it that you have people that really aren't providing value? You get to be supported. You get to receive. You don't have to be everyone's rock. You don't always have to be the person that's giving and giving and giving to everyone else when they're taking and taking and taking. And this goes to every relationship, right? We as kids are not our parents' therapists. We're not supposed to always be there for our parents to give them advice. Our parents are always supposed to be there for us. Yes, can you be there to help your family? As a young child, I was always my parents' therapist, and it wasn't something that was healthy. I'm very mindful of not being that for my child, not doing that to my child, but having her and my kids, both of my children, come to me for advice. Let me be the sounding board for them. Let me be their rock, and so that they feel safe to come to me. Your best friends, your relationships, is there a give and take, or is there always one person being, the teacher and one person being the student? Or is there a good give and take where you both are benefiting from that relationship, right? And so think about all of these relationships and the reason why you stay in these things so long. And I'll tell you why. This is a trauma response and it's a toxic patterning. There's a trauma bond that gets created, right? Where you stay with people who are not good for you because you've just been there for so long. And so breaking free for them, maybe the abandonment issues will come up, or the feeling of, where will I find someone else that will love me this way, even if it's not in the healthiest manner. But what it puts you in scarcity, believing there's no other person out there that can fulfill this role. You have to believe there's an abundance of people in relationships that are coming to serve you and be there for you. But if you have this limited scarcity mindset about a relationship, guess what? You probably have it about money too. And it's basically all over everywhere in your life. You'll see a little bit of spread about it. You'll see it here. You'll see it here. You'll see it here. And so sometimes time does not always equal the quality of a relationship. And many times letting go of things that have been around for a long time is the hardest thing to do because you're worried. Is it the right thing to do? You'll always know it's the right thing to do when you're already thinking about it, because something is not functioning at a high rate in that relationship. If you're contemplating whether or not someone should be in your life anymore, there's something there that's not serving you. There's something there that's not serving them. There's something that's not working. So you have an option to improve the relationship and have a discussion, or you have an option to keep doing what you're doing. But just being in that mode, it's called survival mode. And a lot of the times people stay in these relationships because they're so used to being in survival mode, being in the suffering mode, making everything so hard, because that is what the norm is. So if being in the suffering and being in survival is that trauma response, right? Which is actually a scarcity set mindset. And it's putting you in a place of not abundance, but in lack, of thinking this is all there is. This is all I have. I need to salvage it. And many of the times when you're ready to cut those cords and move on and know that this was a reason, season, or a lifetime relationship, but most reason and season relationships, they have an expiration date, and you've got to know when to hold them and when to fold them, like, Kenny Rogers says. You've got to know, and that's a powerful thing, because what happens when you do that is you start raising your standards, you start allowing yourself to receive higher quality connections with people. So you are now not settling anymore. You're raising your standards, your vibration, your frequency of what's available to you. So now you can start calling in more extraordinary things. But if you're settling in a relationship, or you're settling in a situation that really isn't serving you, what you're telling yourself and the universal laws and forces out there that I don't deserve more, that I'm not worthy of more, just keep letting me just stick with this. There was probably a time in your life where you might not have been at this amazing place that you're at now, where you attracted that relationship. And maybe that relationship doesn't work anymore because you're growing and they're not, or they're growing and you're not, or whatever the case may be. But you owe it to yourself to have this discussion. Are you settling? Because every time you settle, you are not in an expansive state for more wealth. I don't care what you're doing. And anytime you are accepting less than you deserve, you are telling yourself that you are not worthy of more. And so guess what? You're going to just keep accepting the bare minimum through clients, through relationships, through everything, even in your own life. You've set the bar so low for yourself because you have a relationship in it right now that is literally feeding your lack life. It's not feeding the abundant place of where you are. So what I would ask you to do is go take this assessment in your life. Go through the relationships that feel draining. Go through the relationships that might not be serving you. Ask yourself, and don't be justifying, like, well, you know what? They're so blah, blah, blah. If you have to do that, but then there's this big laundry list of things that are not serving you, just know that it doesn't have to be a relationship that's completely like bottomed out that you have to get rid of. Sometimes people, you don't need those things from people anymore, and you think you do. Well, you know what? He fixes so many things around the house. Hire a handyman. Well, she sits there and listens to me, and I don't know if anybody else will. Well, do you know that for a fact? You have not put yourself out there to have more people come into your life. Staying stuck is not the vibe. Staying stuck is not going to get you to your next level. Relationships that don't serve you are actually anchors in your life, and they're keeping you from flying and really going beyond where you are. Sometimes it takes you to do really big things to move on. And there's a moment in time where you have to assess it. I had a client once, and she was so similar to me. And I'm not saying you have to divorce, because your relationships could improve and get better. So just want to preface that and put that disclaimer out there. But I knew that this relationship, all the writing was on the wall. She just had to decide. She deeply knew subconsciously and also quietly inside of herself. And then after a year of mentorship with me, she made the plunge. She's like, this is it. I'm going. When she realized that she was codependent, she was doing all of the things that were, not serving her. She couldn't stand being around her husband. He was drinking. It was all these things. But yet on the outside, they were this perfect couple, just like I was with my ex-husband. But the thought of having to start all over again just terrified her. And she finally made the plunge. And was it easy? No, nothing like that's easy. You rip the Band-Aid, you still got to, the wound is still there. You got to work on it, right? But you have to be willing to risk to take something away so that you could add something new in and call something new and receive something new in. It is not for the weak of mind to say, you know what, I deserve more. But a woman who says that she deserves more, guess what? She just goes straight into that quantum field and starts having her quantum leaps, because she has decided that, you know what, I'm not settling anymore. I get to have it all. And it starts right now with this relationship and letting it go. Friendship, romantic relationship, whatever it is where you're settling, right? And guess what? Now my client is soaring. She's soaring, and she just wished she had done it sooner. This is like dating a guy too. If you're only just hooking up and checking up and there's no dates and stuff, and there's no restaurants and there's no whining and dining, why are you doing that? There's something that you've justified in your mind that said, you know what, this is a good idea. Raise your standards of where you are right now. Maybe there's a relationship where you go out and you're going out to eat with your girlfriend. She cancels, or she doesn't pay, or there's something there. Why are you in that relationship? If it's not serving you, get out of it. Maybe there's a client nagging and constantly, like, there's a type of client too that because you can see the patterns where it's never good enough. You can get them the most amazing results. I've had this with many clients, and now I've up-leveled where I will not even take a client in that says XYZ or exhibits any of these traits. They've had massive results with me, but these are the ones that highly default. They start getting triggered, and what happens is they put the blame on you instead of them actually taking the responsibility for their actions, right? Because women who can blame other people do not have personal power. A woman who is able to be in her power knows that she has the power to change, and she has the power to solve. And I have an episode coming up about that. Stay tuned. So realize where you're serving people and how they are in your clientele, in your relationships, and also with your relationship with yourself. Every single person that you interact with, including yourself. Maybe the way even your kids communicate with you, with your spouse that you absolutely love communicates with you, your parents, where are you going to set really good boundaries and also say, you know what, if this relationship is not giving me this, it's no longer serving me. Trust me on this. When you let go of something that's not really for your high benefit, something amazing and greater is waiting to come in. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope that this brought you a lot of clarity and gave you something to really think about. And maybe there's something that you can take action on coming up soon. And maybe it's planted a seed for you to really think about who you allow in your life. Remember, your energy is one of the highest currencies you can have. Not everybody's entitled to be around it. I know for me, my energy is one of my superpowers. And when people are around it, their consciousness changes. So I treat it like it is the most amazing thing out there. And you yourself have to start doing that for yourself. Not everybody gets to have access to you. Okay. All right. I hope you enjoy this. Again, go join our Quantum Woman group. You can go to my website. I would go ahead and download one of our programs. You can go check out our YouTube and our swag shop, the Quantum Woman swag shop. And if you haven't taken Access in the Quantum through Emotional Self-Mastery, you should get on that program. It will change your life. All right, stay tuned for the next episode. Bye for now.